Lovevery has had some amazing products for babies and toddlers, but how do they stack up once your child starts to get older and closer to a preschooler? In this video, I reviewed the Observer Play Kit, which is the first play kit for 3-year-olds. This play kit is for months 37, 38, and 39. I find it funny how Lovevery still uses months for these, but in a way, there really isn't a better solution for letting parents know the age range of the boxes. This review will be broken into two main sections. The first section will be my review of the product included in the play kit, and in the second half, I'll try to find alternative items on Amazon to attempt to recreate the box to see if you can make a similar experience for less. Age 3 is when your child starts to transition from a toddler to preschool. It might not happen immediately once they turn 3 years old, but you start to notice the difference. Funny enough, I would say my son's 3rd birthday, we could immediately tell his mindset had changed. Let's start with my favorite item in his play kit, the play guide. Yes, this is my favorite item and not my son's, as it's meant for parents. It contains all the research Lovevery has done, which saves us from having to do it ourselves. Usually the play guide has a couple of pages that tell you what your child will start to be capable of, but this time around it takes up about a third of the play guide. The reason being is that year 3 is a major growth year across pretty much all developmental areas. I really like how the guide breaks down each developmental area into easy to understand summaries on the front side, and then on the back there are examples of what we may start to notice our child doing. They have a page for social, emotional, independence, communication and literacy, patterns, math and problem solving, and motor skills. In addition, the play guide as usual also has in-depth instructions on introducing the items in this play kit to our child. They break it into 2 sections, why do this and how to do it. The last section of the play guide includes more activities that you can do with your child. These usually only require common household items and sometimes items from previous kits. The big item in this box is the modular playhouse and wooden playhouse accessories. Playthings that resemble the real world allow our child to act out common scenes they've experienced or seen before, such as sleeping and driving. The modular playhouse, as the name implies, can be arranged in multiple ways. They do include a get started guide that offers some fun, interesting builds, but I'm sure your child would be able to come up with fun ones themselves. I actually introduced this to my son much earlier since I noticed him being interested in the playhouse we saw in his chiropractor's waiting area. Ever since then, it's been in our rotation and he really does enjoy it as there's so many different ways he can interact with it. The majority of the playhouse is made of wood, but they do have some plastic in some areas such as the roof and the ramp. However, it doesn't feel cheap at all. Since this playhouse does have a door with a lock and a key set, they'll be able to understand how to lock and unlock doors, which I know many may not view as a good thing, but overall this is an important practical life skill for them to learn and master. The 2-seater Speedster, as the name implies, fit 2 peg people, an adult and a child. The Speedster works perfectly with the modular playhouse to increase the number of ways your child can interact with toys. And of course, since there's a ramp in the playhouse, it's one of my son's favorites. 3-year-olds love routines, consistency, and visuals, so that's where the plan ahead weatherboard comes in. The weatherboard is a great way for your child not only to be able to have some predictability in their life, but also to start learning the different weather, increase vocabulary, and figure out appropriate clothes to wear. Your child will probably have fun playing with the dials and levers, which is a great way for you to introduce the board. The best way to use the board is to set it up each night with your child so they have an understanding of what routine to expect. You can choose to gather the necessary items like weather appropriate clothes the night before or in the morning. The left and right shoe stickers are fairly self-explanatory. It gives your child a visual way to know which shoes belongs on which foot. Your child most likely won't truly know the difference until they're about 5 or older. I only wish they came with more than 4 sets, as young children grow out of shoes fairly quickly. The wooden emotion dolls are a great way in putting a name to an emotion. Naming emotions is crucial in developing the ability to understand and communicate feelings. I love the idea behind the emotion dolls, but I do have to say some of the faces aren't exactly easy to label. Luckily, each of the doll has the emotion they represent etched on the bottom, just in case you don't quite understand the different faces. Usually Lovevery play kits each come with 1 book, but this time they come with 3 books. If you watched any of my other reviews, you know that I'm a big fan of Lovevery books. My son has always enjoyed looking at the real pictures and hearing me read him the story. So with 3 books, I was super excited to introduce them to my son. Each one of the books in this set cover 2 emotions, and at 3-year-old, your child has some pretty big feelings. All 3 books are great, but my favorite book of the set is the Too Big Feeling book, which focuses on angry and sad. This book is about a boy and his dad going to the store to buy a gift and birthday cake for his cousin. And as one might imagine, the boy sees something he wants, but they're not buying it during this trip. The book perfectly shows how a parent can handle a tantrum without yelling or threatening their child. This also gives your child an expectation of what to expect when they feel the 2 big feelings of angry and sad. Quiet in My Body deals with the emotions, frustrated and calm. This is another great book with a plot many parents are familiar with, and that's the frustration of what to wear or what not to wear. The last book in the set, Happy Either Way, focuses on the emotions happy and worry. It's about a little girl and her mom going to the zoo, which of course brings out many fun and happy emotions. Eventually, the main character has to decide if she wants to go down the giraffe slide. This is where the book gets a little fun in allowing the reader to choose whether she slides down or not, kind of like those choose your own adventure books. If 3 books aren't enough, you can pay an additional $18 for the book bundle add-on. The 2 books included with this set are Allura Makes a New Friend and A Haircut for Lunar New Year's. Allura Makes a New Friend is a story about how even young children can communicate their boundaries. A Haircut for Lunar New Year is about how a little boy eventually overcomes worries about a new experience of a first haircut. For $18, it's not a bad deal as you do get 2 great stories that you probably won't find alternatives for anywhere else, and $9 for a book is about the average price for children's books. I know that sometimes when we take a quick glance at the Lovevery play kits, they don't look like they include enough items for the $120 we pay, especially with their 3-year-old play kits. But at the developmental age of 3, it's more about quality than quantity. The abilities they'll learn takes time and practice before your child can master them. But let's go ahead and see if the alternatives I found on Amazon would be a cheaper route. Keep in mind that many of the products Lovevery makes are pretty unique, so the alternatives I find are as close as I could get while also being reasonably priced. The Melissa and Doug wooden dollhouse is close to the modular playhouse, but of course being a little bit less modular and no lock at the door. The reason I picked this one is that the price is fairly reasonable compared to some of the other ones in the market, as well as the wood color is pretty neutral, so it shouldn't clash with many home decorations. This set of wooden vehicles is a great alternative to the 2-seater Speedster, as it includes both a car for the 2 peg people and a car for 1. The only thing is this set is not colored. If you want a colored set, the price goes up a bit, but for the purpose of the comparison, I'll use the lower of the 2. There are a bunch of different weatherboard options, but I picked this one as it includes very similar information as Lovevery's version. I would have picked this one as it's aesthetically much more pleasing, but not only is it expensive, but it also lacks day of the week indicator. While yesterday, today, and tomorrow are age appropriate, the days of the week help your child understand if it's going to be a school or home day coming up. This set of left and right sticker is a great alternative, and you should have enough to last until your child knows the difference between left and right shoes. This set of peg people is a pretty good alternative to the wooden emotion dolls. Picking an alternative for Lovevery books has always been tough, and this time there are 3 books. It was pretty tough to find books that focus only on 1 or 2 emotions. These 3 are the best I could find that sort of cover the same range as Lovevery. Probably not as detailed as Lovevery books though. If you add up the price of all the Amazon alternatives I mentioned, it would cost $168.17, making it 1.4 times more expensive than just purchasing the Lovevery play kit. This isn't even calculating in the play guide, which is pretty much impossible to find an alternative for. Once again, Lovevery play kits have shown that they're not only great for our children, but they're also a great value. Check out my unboxing video of all 4 Year 3 play kits to get an idea of how all the items look. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.